We were experiencing state legislatures that were slowly chipping away at our rights and especially restricted the ability of those who are most often impacted by injustice.
The vast majority of Minnesotans don't want the government interfering in people's decisions around pregnancy or in choosing abortion. The restrictions are pretty out of step with Minnesota's values.
The 24-hour waiting period, the erroneous script that doctors have to read.
Minors had to notify both of their parents, no matter what type of relationship.
Those sort of things that have nothing to do with public health, and they get in the way of the doctor-patient relationship.
In 2018, I got a call from an old colleague. They said, hey, would Gender Justice have any interest in partnering in bringing a lawsuit challenging the state's abortion restrictions?
A coalition of women's and abortion rights groups are launching a legal strike on abortion restrictions in Minnesota.
We knew that this was so important to be a part of because patients that we talk to on a daily basis needed to be represented.
I remember talking about coming together to really push back against those restrictions in coalition, and that's really how UnRestrict was born.
In the early days, UnRestrict took a forward step to really say we are going to be loud and proud about support for abortion care.
There's no question that LGBTQ rights and reproductive rights and abortion rights are deeply intertwined. Reproductive freedom is something that's fundamental and essential to all of us.
We see reproductive justice work as racial and economic justice work.
The face of the movement is changing, and we've not only broadened the movement by being inclusive of the many gender identities that lie in our community, but also the racial makeup of this country.
Keep your hands off my body!
Breaking news from the Supreme Court, and we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled.
Taking away the fundamental right.
Not on our watch in Minnesota.
Even under Roe, hundreds of thousands of people were denied access to abortion care because of all the restrictions, and the right to abortion is meaningless without access.
There was some kind of an estimate out there saying that we could expect a 25% increase in patients in Minnesota. That lines up with what we saw at our own individual clinic. So having this larger coalition of voices meant a lot to us because we could see daily the way that our patient care is affected.
A judge has ruled Minnesota's abortion restrictions violate the state constitution and has ordered them not to be enforced.
We were hoping for that decision for years and preparing for that.
When the restrictions were removed, it made a huge difference in our day-to-day operations.
People want their representatives to pass laws that protect rights and access. We launched a sister project called UnRestrict Minnesota Action. It just gave us a vehicle to talk to voters about what was at stake in the election.
Democrats have taken control of both chambers of the Minnesota legislature.
The first pro-choice majority in state history.
I think we're going to be talking for years to come about the historic wins at the state capitol this year.
More women in leadership, trans folks in leadership, voices who have not held the majority ever.
Passing the PRO Act, the Reproductive Freedom Defense Act, removing all those restrictions.
But, the work is never done.
We will not stop with Minnesota because there are people all over this country who need access to reproductive health care, and we are not done.
Separation church and state! We want Minnesota to be a shining example of what economic and racial justice care really can look like.
Reproductive freedom is when people can get access to any type of care without any type of barrier.
The opportunity that we have now is to imagine what is the future we want to build. And we know this isn't a thing that we can take for granted.
We can be the leader. We can be the North Star.
UnRestrict Minnesota is just a tremendous success. We're really happy and excited that nearly all of Minnesota's restrictions on abortion were repealed in one session, but we have more work to do.